Hello and welcome to Learn English with Movies. Today we have a very special lesson for you featuring none other than 007 himself, Mr. James Bond. Most people here in the UK love watching a good Bond movie. It's something a typical family would do when they get together for a big holiday, such as Christmas. In fact, right after the traditional monarch speech to the British people, which is always on TV at 3 o'clock on Christmas Day, the only thing to do is to sit down with all the family to watch James Bond save the world from complete disaster. Just like he does every year. And as most of the Bond characters speak as clearly as you would expect from such a special group of Brits, this makes them a great resource to improve your fluency, listening and pronunciation, as well as the opportunity to learn more about British life. We're about to jump into the first lesson in just one moment. However, if this is your first time at Learn English with Movies, I would like to tell you that we have many more great lessons on everything British, helping you understand English native speakers more quickly, accurately, and, more importantly, without getting bored. You really can become more fluent in English, and very quickly. And all you need to do is hit that subscribe button and the bell down below to make sure you don't miss out on any of our future lessons. So, if you're ready to watch the first of our two fabulous scenes featuring James Bond, grab your popcorn and let's join the action. In this scene from the 2012 movie Skyfall, we meet James Bond inside the MI6 building in London. Bond is trying to break a code with the help of Q, the head of MI6's cybersecurity team. If Bond and Q can break the code, they'll be able to see the plans of an extremely dangerous enemy of the UK, Raoul Silva, whom they've captured and locked up in a cell underneath the building. By the way, Raoul Silva is played by Spanish actor Javier Bardem, and this James Bond is played by Daniel Craig, who was the sixth British actor to take on the iconic role.
Oh look, it's a map.
It's London. Subterranean London.
What's going on? Why are the doors open?
Oh no. Can someone tell me how the hell he got into our system?
Oh shit. Shit. He hacked us.
Oh no. Q. He's gone. I'm in a stairwell below isolation.
You read me, Q?
I can hear you. I'm looking for you. Got you. Tracking your location. Just keep moving forward. Enter the next service door on your right. If you're through that door, you should be in the tube.
I'm in the tube.
Bond's now in a tunnel on the London Underground system. He's on the District Line to be precise. The District Line has some fascinating stations on it. Jump off at South Kensington to visit the Natural History Museum, or keep going till Kew Gardens, one of London's most beautiful attractions. Sadly, our hero has no time for either. He has other things on his mind.
District line is the closest. There should be a service door on your left.
Got it. It won't open.
Of course it will. Put your back into it.
Why don't you come down here and put your back into it?
Now it's stuck. Oh, good. There's a train coming.
That's vexing.
Told you. We've alerted security. Police are on their way.
Bond's Skyfall story starts in the headquarters of the British Secret Service agency, MI6, where Bond is trying to break a very tricky code with Q, the head of cybersecurity. The MI part of MI6 stands for Military Intelligence. MI6 is a real organisation based in a mysterious building on the banks of the River Thames. This is what it looks like, so maybe watch out for it if you're ever in this part of the city. Although maybe don't take too many photographs of the building. You never know who may be watching. MI6 is of course James Bond's employer, but quite rare to see him around the office. I mentioned earlier that Bond is played in this movie, Skyfall, by actor Daniel Craig. English speakers use played to talk about characters in movies and TV shows. Before Daniel Craig came along in 2006, Bond was played by Pierce Brosnan, and before that, in the 1980s, he was played by Timothy Dalton. Throughout the 60s and 70s, Bond was played most notably by Sean Connery and Roger Moore. It's no secret then that everybody in the UK has a favourite James Bond. If you want a great opportunity to practice your English, just casually ask a Brit, who do you think was the best Bond? And get ready for a long, long discussion. By the way, the right answer is, of course, Daniel Craig. He was, without doubt, the best actor ever to take on the iconic role. And James Bond is certainly someone we Brits would describe as a British icon. Mainly because he's always doing stuff like this, and managing to stay super cool when, let's be honest, the rest of us would end up in hospital. When you describe someone or something as an icon, or as iconic, you mean they're extremely well known and popular with huge numbers of people. Other British icons include Elizabeth II, who did some amazing things during her many, many years as Queen. William Shakespeare, generally regarded as the greatest ever writer in the English language, and speaking of greatest ever, how about the Beatles? 4 young lads from Liverpool who went on to become the most influential and iconic band in history. Then there's Doctor Who, who's been a science fiction icon for people all over the world for almost 60 years. Another icon of music is David Bowie, who most people would agree was something of a genius. And let's not forget Adele, the singer of the theme tune to Skyfall, who's not just a British icon, but a worldwide gay icon as well. So Bond is in pretty good company, don't you think?
Oh, look, it's a map.
It's London. Subterranean London.
When Bond refers to subterranean London, he means the underground world that exists beneath the surface of the city. As well as the London Underground transport system, there are all sorts of other weird and wonderful things down there. This includes extensive subterranean Roman remains that are still being discovered under the streets of the city today. And, from the time the Black Death swept through London and killed about a quarter of the population in 1666, hundreds of subterranean plague pits have been found under the very roads and buildings that we use every day. In fact, subterranean London is probably just as interesting as a city above ground. Okay, back to Bond's problems in modern day London. Let's head back to MI6.
Oh, no.
Can someone tell me how the hell he got into our system?
Oh, shit. Shit. He hacked us.
When Q discovers that the enemy, a man named Raoul Silva, has hacked the MI6 computers, he's nervous enough to ask, how the hell did he get into our system? Saying this shows that Q is very shocked and upset because he's normally a calm and polite person. In fact, lots of TV shows and movies have characters asking questions like, what the hell is this? Or where the hell are we? Take a look.
What the hell?
What the hell are you?
What the hell does this say?
What the hell are you talking about?
Who the hell do you think you are?
What the hell's going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
What the hell is this?
The hell you talking about, boy?
Huh? What the hell?
Where the hell have you been?
What the hell are you?
What the hell are you doing?
As you can see, English speakers use these phrases a lot when they want to show how shocked, angry or upset they are at what's happening. And as he's basically just managed to let this guy escape, it's not surprising that Q panics. What the hell were you thinking, Q? Back to Bond now, please. Let's see if he can fix this mess.
I'm in a stairwell below isolation. You read me, Q?
I can hear you. I'm looking for you. Got you. Tracking your location. Just keep moving forward. Enter the next service door on your right. If you're through that door, you should be in the tube.
I'm in the tube.
The tube is how Londoners refer to their city's underground train system. What's called the subway in New York and the metro in Paris is the tube in London. You might ask, for example, where do I get off the tube to get to Harrods? The answer, by the way, is Hyde Park Corner. Actually, quite a few London tube and train stations appear in TV and movies. The real King's Cross station is always full of Harry Potter fans because it's home to platform 9 3/4, where the young wizards catch the famous Hogwarts Express. All trains leaving King's Cross station go north, which suggests that Hogwarts School is actually somewhere in Scotland. Baker Street tube station is a favourite for, fans of Sherlock. And Paddington is famous for, well, Paddington. Tottenham Court Road station has the longest tunnel in the whole tube system, which is probably why they chose it for the frankly terrifying chase in the movie An American Werewolf in London. And who could forget Chris Hemsworth hopping on a tube train at Charing Cross station to travel with some very puzzled London commuters in the movie Thor: The Dark World. Honestly, you just never know who you're going to bump into on the tube. The London Tube handles 5 million passenger journeys every single day and has 11 different lines. Bond has entered the District line, which, as I mentioned before, has some very interesting stations on it. It ends at Wimbledon, home of the world famous lawn tennis championship. On your way to Wimbledon, however, you'll pass under some not so posh parts of the city, including a district with a dark history. Have you ever heard of Jack the Ripper? Jack the Ripper was a serial killer who carried out his bloodthirsty murders in the fog of London in 1888. Despite killing at least 5 women and terrorising the city for months, Jack the Ripper was never caught. Fancy forming your own opinion on who this monster might have been? All you need to do is hop off the District line at Whitechapel Station and begin your investigations. Anyway, let's get back to Bond. We left him in the tube tunnel chasing escaped prisoner Raoul Silva.
District line is the closest. There should be a service door on your left.
Got it. It won't open.
Of course it will. Put your back into it.
Why don't you come down here and put your back into it?
Now it's stuck. Oh, good. There's a train coming.
That's vexing.
Come through.
Told you. We've alerted security. Police are on their way.
To put you back into something means to give it more effort, to try harder. And because Bond is annoyed that Q is giving this advice from the safety of his MI6 office, he immediately answers, "Why don't you come down here and put your back into it?" They are on the same team after all. When Q says that a train heading towards Bond is vexing, you'll notice though that Q doesn't seem upset by this. Vexing is an old-fashioned way of saying something is slightly annoying or irritating, and being squashed by a train would almost certainly be much worse than that. Here are a few more examples of Bond being incredibly calm in situations that are, well, extremely vexing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes scene A. Now, if you don't find it too vexing, Shall we move on to scene B? Yes? Okay, here we go. We rejoin the action as Bond joins the crowd in a busy tube station. He's still looking for Raoul Silva, who, by the way, is now disguised as a British police officer. He should be easy to spot in such a well-known uniform, right? Nope. Wrong.
Where are you now?
Temple Tube Station, along with half of London.
Oh, I see. Here you are.
I know where I am, Q. Where's he?
Give us a second, I'm looking for him.
There's too many people. I can't see him.
Welcome to rush hour on the tube. Not something you'd know much about.
Train's leaving. Do I get on the train?
Don't get on the train, I'm not sure he's on it. Give us a minute.
Do I get on the train?
Bond,
What?
get on the train.
He's keen to get home.
Open the door, please. Open the door.
Health and safety. Carry on.
When Bond says he's in Temple Tube Station with half of London, he's doing something that all Brits do all of the time when we were speaking informally. He's telling Q how busy the station is by exaggerating. When you exaggerate, you say something is much bigger, much better, or much worse than it actually is. We do it to let the person we're speaking to know that we feel very strongly about the situation. You probably do exactly the same thing in your first language. So, let's leave Bond for a moment and take a very quick look at 10 common exaggerations we Brits use in everyday conversation. Number 10. I nearly missed my flight. There were an unbelievable number of people in that check-in queue.
Really? There were like 4?
Number 9. Oh God, I'm late. It took forever to find a cab.
It was actually around 6 minutes.
Number 8. Oh no, I've got like 1 million missed calls from my boss.
Be honest, you've got 3.
Number 7. No, honestly, I'll just sit here. I can't dance to save my life.
Ah, I'm afraid she knows you can.
Number 6. Do you know I could murder a curry about now?
Murder? Seriously? How about just saying you can't live without a curry for another single minute? Oh wait, is that worse?
Number 5. My dad nearly had a heart attack when I told him I paid £100 for a haircut.
But that's all dads, everywhere, right?
Okay, that one might actually not be much of an exaggeration. Number 4. Thanks very much. You're a star.
Okay, but I only gave you directions to the post office.
Number 3. That's amazing. Thanks again.
This again? I only told you where the bus stop was.
Amazing, by the way, is the British word for awesome. Sometimes we also say brilliant. Number 2. There's nothing worse than having a cold.
I can probably think of 20 worse things than that in the next 20 seconds if I really try.
Number 1. I have to go. My mum will literally go insane if I'm late for dinner again. I mean, she will literally kill me. Using the word literally, which means that something will definitely really happen, is so annoying that I could literally cry when I hear it. Well, maybe not literally, but you know what I mean. Anyway, those are some typical exaggerations you'll often hear from Brits. Back to Bond, who we left in a tube station with half of London.
Oh, I see. Here you are.
I know where I am, Q. Where's he?
Give us a second, I'm looking for him.
When Q says, "give us a second," he really means give me a second. Some English speakers use us instead of me when they're talking in informal situations. People only use give us when they are speaking, never when they are writing, and even when speaking. It depends on who you're talking to. Q is obviously very comfortable speaking informally to Bond, who he considers his equal, but he might not speak to his boss at MI6 quite so casually, played by another iconic British actor, Dame Judi Dench. Here are a few more examples of people saying us instead of me. Buy us a pint. Here, buy us a pint means please buy me a beer. Lend us 10 quid. So lend us 10 quid means please lend me £10. Americans sometimes describe dollars as bucks, and we Brits sometimes describe pounds as a quid. Make us a cuppa. This is probably the most used phrase every single day in Britain. Make us a cuppa means please make me a cup of tea. Give us a snog. Give us a snog is a jokey, informal way of asking somebody for a kiss. And no, it's definitely not as important as make us a cuppa. Okay, so back to Bond. Who doesn't want a tenner, a pint, a cuppa or a snog? He just wants to find Raoul Silva.
There's too many people. I can't see him.
Welcome to rush hour on the tube. Not something you'd know much about.
And now on to a little bit of English that Bond heard just then in the tube station. And millions of Londoners hear every single day. Have another listen. Did you hear it? Whenever there's a tube train in the station with people getting on and off, a recorded voice warns them to mind the gap. But what does it actually mean? The word mind is used here as a warning that people need to be careful. So, mind the gap means be careful of the space between the tube train and the platform when you're getting on or off. Other phrases you might hear English people using the word mind in this way are mind your head, mind you don't hurt yourself, and even if you swear in front of the wrong person, mind your language. Mind can also be used when you are asking someone to do you a favour. Example, could you mind the baby for a couple of hours please? Or because you're not allowed to smoke in British restaurants and pubs, someone might ask you, could you mind my bag for a second while I nip out for a ciggy? Which of course means, would you please look after my bag while I go outside for a quick cigarette? Of course, the mind the gap warning is for ordinary travellers, not James Bond. There's no way on earth Britain's coolest spy is going to fall over in a tube station. The real question is he ever going to catch Raoul Silva?
Train's leaving. Do I get on the train?
Don't get on the train, I'm not sure he's on it. Give us a minute.
Do I get on the train?
Bond,
What?
get on the train.
He's keen to get home.
Open the door, please. Open the door.
Health and safety. Carry on.
Just as Q earlier described Bond's near-death experience as vexing, when this man says of Bond, he's keen to get home, it's another example of someone British being calm in a very stressful situation. After a long and tiring day at work, it's true that most Londoners are keen to get home. This just means that they want to get home as quickly as possible and relax. The fact that Bond risks his life to get onto the train that's already leaving the station, well, it's quite obvious that he's a bit more than just keen to get home. A lot of people refer to this kind of joke as British understatement, which means reacting in a calm way when most people would be very excited or loud in the same circumstances. In fact, British understatement is something Bond has always been very famous for. Take a look at this scene from a different Bond movie, Casino Royale. Here, Bond is playing poker in a casino in Montenegro, and another player tries to murder him by putting poison in his martini.
They're not seriously going back there.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Monsieur Bond?
Five and seven of spades. The straight flush. 4 to the 8. The high hand.
So, having been nearly killed by a poison martini and then coming back to win a few $1 million at the poker table, jumping onto the back of a fast-moving train is probably nothing to Bond.
Health and safety. Carry on.
When Bond tells the train driver that he's from Health and Safety, he's making a joke that all Britons would understand immediately. The UK has a very, very strong health and safety culture, especially in the workplace. In fact, we're so obsessed here in Britain with keeping people healthy and safe at work that many people actually think things have gone too far. It's quite common nowadays to hear the expression, health and safety gone mad. There are so many jokes about possible dangers in the workplace that now we have a situation where people don't know what's real and what's fake about health and safety rules. With that in mind, take a look at some of these examples and see if you can guess which health and safety rules are real and which ones are fake. If you have a headache while you are staying in a hotel in London, the hotel staff will not give you paracetamol in case you have a bad medical reaction to it. And that one is real. British office workers are not allowed to have candles on a birthday cake in the workplace in case it starts a fire. That one is also real. At British university graduation ceremonies, students are not allowed to throw their caps in the air in case they injure somebody when they come down again. That one is definitely fake. British office workers are not allowed to put up Christmas decorations in the office in case they fall off their chair whilst doing it. Happily, that one is fake. There has to be a warning on a packet of peanuts that it contains nuts. Real. British people aren't allowed to wear flip-flops to work in case they drop something on their foot. Fake. Probably made up by someone who just didn't want to look at feet. Tube stations in London announce "Mind the gap" all day long to warn you not to fall over between the train and the platform. Absolutely real. You've heard it with your own ears, so you definitely know it's true. So we can see why Bond makes the joke about health and safety when he jumps onto the moving train. MI6 obviously isn't the employer to choose if you're worried about being safe at work. We leave Bond here coming up from Westminster Tube Station, still chasing Raoul Silver. I don't want to give away any spoilers about the ending of this movie, in case you'd like to watch Skyfall for yourself, so I won't tell you if he catches Raoul Silver in time. But you know, he is James Bond.